Bullies are not limited to school playgrounds or online comment sections.
Yeah, there's some new research that suggests bullies are sometimes in our own families. So in today's Relationship Reboot, we're talking about recognizing it and what you can do if you have a bully in your family. Whenever you're dealing with conflict in a family, it's challenging. Carol Bearse is a relationship guru, professor at St. Thomas, at the University of St. Thomas. Great to have you here.
Thanks.
This has got to be a challenge.
It's a challenge for sure. And a lot of us think these bullies only exist, on the playground, in our hallways, in our workplaces, or online. But a lot of times we're related to these bullies. They live in our families. We spend holidays with them. So it's important to start to recognize it.
Well, and it doesn't look the same as, a bully that you meet at school or someone online. What does it look like? How can you spot bullying within your family?
Well, interestingly, bullying behavior is really defined as any repeated, unwanted, aggressive behavior. So really, it's the same behavior. It's just a lot of times when it's in our families, when we're related to that person, we don't want to label it bullying.
No.
Or
it comes off as joking sometimes, too.
Right. Like, think about it between siblings. Sometimes we might write that kind of behavior off as sibling rivalry.
Typical brother-sister
Right,
stuff.
but the research on this, there's some new research out in the Journal of Family Communication, is pointing out how destructive this can be for our long-term health and for long-term, family relationships. And it can happen in all ages. So it's not just about kids. It can be your cousin, your aunt, your uncle. Grandparents can even be bullies.
How do you tell the difference between that kind of normal, like, razzing that you would have in a family and something where you say, like, this really is hurtful, this is damaging to me?
Well, what one of the important things to do is know that bullying really falls under this umbrella of abuse, but we're less likely to call it abuse when it's, if the bullying kind of behavior.
No one wants to call your family member
right.
An abuser.
Exactly, especially outside of the parent and partner relationship. But one of the things you can do, to your question, is start to recognize that this is sort of really negative. It's ongoing kind of aggressive behavior that's beyond, what is typical,
So you recognize it. And once you recognize it, I'm sure that you want to do something. Is there anything that you can do in that situation?
Yeah, and so this is a really important thing. What do you do about it? And two answers, depending on your age. So let's talk about kids first. So if you're a kid, let's say 10 and 12-year-old sisters, and it could even be the 10-year-old who's the bully. It doesn't have to be the older sibling. Talking to a parent or someone safe about it, thanks to a lot of the anti-bullying programs in schools all across the country, both parents and kids have the language of bullying, and they know what to do about it.
We hear it from our kids a lot.
So
you have to have a conversation like, is this bullying? Is this just someone picking on you? What is it?
Exactly. And so the parents, too, shouldn't minimize that kind of ongoing negative behavior. It can be causing a lot of problems for that kid that they're not wanting to, talk about academically, physically. And so for the younger kids, it's really important for the parents to get involved. For older adults, there's lots of strategies. Removing yourself, knowing that you can create space from that bully. Let's say it's an aunt who constantly is criticizing your parenting behavior. Give yourself space. Maybe don't stay as long at those holiday events or with that person, but also rehearsing how you're going to stand up to that bully ahead of time.
Do you have any suggestions on how to stand up to?
Yes.
Because you have to maintain those relationships within your family.
Exactly. So rehearsing, for instance, how you're going to respond, because this is repeated behavior, and it's often, you know that it's coming. So for instance, let's take the aunt who's criticizing your parenting behavior. You might just rehearse your line and say, we parent our children based on our values. I'm sorry you don't like it, but I'm going to continue to do this in the way that we think is best.
That's
and
great.
Stay calm, don't be hostile, and if you have to, just repeat that over and over again.
Really
but
good.
knowing how you're going to do it.
Rehearsing it is really, really smart.
Really, really good. And know that if there is physical abuse going on, in any relationship, you need to get help.
Get help. Yeah.
Okay.
Very good. Carol, thank you.